I want you to know about parenting cooperatives. When the charity first began and when it was first set up, we actually called the charity Parenting Cooperatives. We still have the domain name parentingcooperatives.com. Let me tell you how it began. We were a group of local people in the neighbourhood whose children had started secondary school, and within days of them starting secondary school there were older boys asking them questions about their virginity. For those who don't know, secondary school is 11-year-old children. So we wanted to know, we thought that was odd, and we found it very strange. We didn't trust these people who were at this school. We didn't trust these older boys. And we just didn't know what to expect, but we were fearing the worst, and sure enough it was the worst you could ever imagine. We found that these children, our children, were being persecuted, they were being targeted, and they were invited to take drugs for free. Now the idea, as it turned out and transpired, they wanted children to become addicted to drugs so that they would turn into sex slaves, or they would turn into criminals, robbing and stealing in order to pay for their drugs, to pay these kind of people for their drugs. That was obviously a worry. They were also assaulting our children, especially our daughters, and they were bullying our young boys, intimidating them, and particularly violent towards them. And it was very distressing, obviously, for all of us parents who were involved in this. The idea of coming together to form a network, a support network, caught on almost immediately, because when children were offered drugs, or they were being harassed or assaulted, whatever, they may be reporting it to the teachers, and the teachers did nothing, absolutely nothing. So we introduced the charity to the 5 of what was the worst Ofsted schools in the district, and at first we were well accepted. Very well accepted, and teaching assistants were telling us what was actually going on. Obviously the teachers couldn't say anything, but the teaching assistants told us we were very effective in stopping the gangs from perpetrating these crimes against our children, because they didn't know who we were. Good. One of the reasons they didn't know who we were was because we posted absolutely nothing on social media. This was the golden rule. Confidentiality was the buzzword that we always used, and reminded each other, remember confidentiality. That way we could keep everything private. And what we discovered was that if a child was being bullied, they might not tell the parents, but they would tell their mates. And if their mates was one of our children, we would let the other parent know what was happening, or what we'd been told. The straightforward, mundane things that you hear of every day and children experience every day, such as bullying, we could do all that in a breath. We could settle it within an hour of the children getting home. We just spread the word, oh, this child's bullying that child, or whatever. And then we talk to the parents of those children, both the children involved, and the parents would get their heads together and sort it out. And usually, in a number of cases, we had reports of where all the children were hugging and kissing and crying the next day and apologising for the bullying session, whatever it was. Done and dusted, forget about it, it's on, let's move on. The more worrying stuff was stuff that was not getting reported. Fortunately, that's where a parenting cooperative, a neighbourhood parenting cooperative, it really shone. In fact, it was so effective and so powerful that the local police officers, 2 local police officers, were very helpful and encouraging, to the point where at one point one of the girls had witnessed something, and some boys approached her in the school within a matter of days, and these boys knew everything about this girl who was a witness, and they told her, if you do stand as a witness, we'll do some violent, horrible things to you, your little dog, and your little sister. How did they know she had a little dog and a little sister? It transpired that they had all sorts of personal, private, intimate information about our daughters that could only come from a government local authority organisation. Well, heavens to Murgatroyd, I couldn't imagine who would do a thing like this. But then that's what they were doing. They were sharing private and personal information with these gangs. So they knew which girls to pick on, which girls were fatherless, which girls were vulnerable. That's how they knew who to pick on. And the young boys, well, these were just used as people to rob and steal and just to provide the money and income for the people who were selling them drugs, etc. So we had a handle on this, and one day we got some unequivocal evidence, totally watertight evidence. It was a video, and there was a clear image of one of the main perpetrators. So we told one of these two officers that we knew we could trust. They were on our side, totally, 100% backing us up. And they said, leave it with me, Jerry. And they went round to see the girl. Can we have a look at the video, whatever you caught on your camera, please? Yes. So they took her phone, and they took it to his desk sergeant. Desk sergeant said, tomorrow morning, first thing, 6 o'clock, bang on the door and arrest that guy. Well, they went round 6 o'clock with a gang, police officers, front and back, couldn't escape. Where is he? He's gone abroad. He left on an aeroplane that morning, early hours of the morning or something like that. But they couldn't catch him, it's too late, he'd gone. So that means that as soon as somebody found out that this raid was going to take place, they shared that information with somebody and they got an emergency flight out of the country. That's the kind of people we were dealing with. So we had to use, personally, I had to go back to using tactics from when I was a kid in Glasgow with the sectarianism. We had to keep everything quiet. That's what the Glasgow Smile was about, keeping your mouth shut. So I went back to that way of thinking, into that mindset. And that's what works. Keeping it quiet, keep it confidential, keep it to yourselves. Don't put anything on social media. It is the kiss of death. Believe me, literally, in occasions it will be that. Because everything that goes on the social media gets shared with the local authorities. It's being sold on Facebook and other organisations which are social media based. They will sell information about you. They will sell your posts and your messages and your private messages. And I dare say even the encrypted ones will be shared, because if they say, well, it's a child safeguarding issue, we really need this information, they will say, well, of course you can, we'll share it with you. We organised ourselves into like a rota system where at least one of us in our group would send a car to pick up the children. Not just our own children, but our neighbours' children, and drop them off on the way home. And that worked exceptionally well. In fact, we started working in the 5 worst schools in Bradford, and we were really well accepted, and it was teaching assistants who were telling us all this information about how well it worked, and we frightened them to death because they couldn't tell who we were. That's the secret. Confidentiality, that's the buzzword, that's it. Keep it private and personal. And it worked exceptionally well. So that's what I encourage you to do, guys. If your child says, oh, I'm going to see my friend, where is your friend, where do they live, what's the parent's phone number, I need to know their phone number. That way we could get in touch with each other, and then what you'll find is the same as what I found. They would say, "Well, thank goodness that you phoned, Jerry. Thank you for calling. This is really good. Thank you for this. We'll keep each other's phone number, and we will only communicate by phone or face to face at the school gate." Take that with you, go with it, and I'll do another video about where I'll be talking about family cooperatives, and that will astound you. Take heart, they will never take a child away from a family illegally again.